5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PixelPlay Sidequest, your bonus content here on YouTube. My name is Adam, aka CS Radical, joined as always my good buddy Chris, aka Jin and Chris, who we are here to torture again by making him speak for the entirety of this show because it's his review.
I'm going to talk a lot. That's crazy. That actually never happens on this show.
I know, like,
Well,
I'm
no,
actually
it
going to
does
sit back and listen.
You get to just watch because...
It's going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's actually going to be pretty difficult. But you'll get through it because you get to listen to the fact that I have here the Steam controller. Yes, that's right.
Yes, you're a sucker,
Valve's, we know. Valve's new controller, the first one in 11 years. Yeah, so I was actually able to get this right at launch. I was able to log into Steam. I had an alarm set for 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. when the launch went live. And a small trick for everybody. What you do is you load the money that you need to buy whatever it is directly into your Steam wallet. And then right when it goes live and you go to buy it, well, guess what? You don't have to worry about the steps for like PayPal and all that kind of stuff. You're already good to go. So that's how I got it. I was able to skip ahead, I think, of everybody else who was trying to buy at the same time because there was no payment information for me. It was just straight Steam wallet money. But yeah, so I'm going to go over, I've played a lot over with this controller for the last few days. Lots of different games and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go into any specific gameplay or anything like that. But I am going to go over what I think is really good about the controller, like what I love, then the bad, and then I'm going to kind of talk about if I feel like the controller was right for me and if it might be right for you. So I'm going to kind of break it down into a few different sections. I'm going to obviously
for starters,
start with
though, I was about to say, like, for those that aren't aware, like, how much was it when you got it?
It was $149, and I do kind of bring that up in a little bit, but yeah, it is Canadian, $149, US $99.
So it's kind of like the high end that we see for like the like an elite controller for something like, say, the Xbox or the PlayStation 5.
Exactly. Yeah, so going into the good of the controller, I'll start there. The first thing is actually this little doodad, which I'll bring a little bit closer to the camera. That is the Steam controller puck. Now, this obviously plugs into a USB cable and then goes directly into your computer, but it is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen because it has two purposes, both of which I've seen used before, but never in combination. It is both the dongle for the controller, which you can actually hook up to 4 controllers to it. And each controller can actually be connected to 2 different pucks, which is really cool. But it's also magnetic and connects to the controller and charges it. So you can put it down. They connect at a pretty good distance. Like you put it anywhere near it and it seeks it out. You can kind of see it. But yeah, it's actually a really cool idea because usually you've got to plug in the controller and charge it and have a dongle somewhere else. Here, the charging cable is used for both, right? You're actually getting the dongle, you're getting the charging and everything all in one. What's cool, though, is you don't have to only do it that way. On the top of the controller, which you may not be able to see, is a USB-C plug-in as normal. So for me, in my setup, I'm actually not going to use the puck because it is connected to where my computer is. But I am all the way across the basement here where my TV is because I'm actually using this for a couch setup. So I still plug this controller in the same spot my PS5 or Xbox controller would plug in, which is really, really cool. Another really cool thing with this dongle is the range is so far amazing. Like it really, like my entire basement, I've walked around with the controller. I've had the best connection with the lowest latency I think I've had in any kind of wireless controller in a really, really, really long time, if ever. I usually game with like my PS5 controller, which is over Bluetooth, and I always noticed there was like a hint of latency, but it was never anything that bothered me, even in platformers or anything like that. But this controller, now that I'm using it with this really good dongle, I'm now noticing how much lag I actually had before that I just don't have now. Like the responsiveness of this thing was insane. But getting to the actual controller itself, a few other good things that I really, really like about it. Some people haven't agreed with me online, but again, I've just going by my own personal perspective here. The ergonomics of this controller are amazing. It feels so good. to just pick up. Your fingers drop directly onto the two analog sticks, getting to the buttons, getting down to the trackpads. Like no matter where you need your thumbs or buttons or fingers to go, it's like instant. Like it is so comfortable, and I'm just like right there right away, and it is just so good. Obviously, the ergonomics are very similar to a PS5 controller. You've got the two analog sticks next to each other, like I've got here on my DualSense Edge. Same idea. So it feels very familiar, just extremely, extremely comfortable. Some people have said, obviously, like, oh, it's a little bit more heavy than a normal controller. That is true, but I only honestly ever notice if I pick up like a base PS5 or Xbox controller and then hold the Steam controller in my other hand. They are slightly different, but it honestly is like almost nothing. In comparison, you really don't notice. And it's significantly lighter than the DualSense Edge and the Xbox Elite controllers, which are more premium and heavier. So it's still lighter than those. It's just slightly more heavy than the very base controllers that are out there. So honestly, I haven't noticed anything about the weight. The weight distribution is really, really good. One of the main things that I love is the actual buttons themselves. So you can barely hear it there when I'm clicking on it. I probably didn't even pick up on my microphone. They are honestly perfect in the sense that they are halfway between what I would consider the PS5 and Xbox buttons because they're slightly different. I've always found the PS5 buttons to be a little more mushy, if that makes sense, and the Xbox controller almost annoyingly clicky, like you can hear when somebody's playing with an Xbox controller. This is actually somehow directly in the middle. It's like that perfect balance of mushy and clicky all at once. Like it's got that bit of mush, but then that bit of click. So it's actually like really, really great on the face buttons, the D-pad, the bumper buttons, start, select, all of the buttons you'd think that you'd need to press. It's like they've got that perfect amount of resistance and click and mush. So very, very cool. The actual analog sticks as well are TMR, which I don't know exactly what it all means because I'm not huge on analog sticks like some of the experts on the internet that I've read about recently. But basically there's like normal joysticks that get like the stick drift and all the kind of bad stuff. Joy-Con's notorious for this. And then there's the hollow effect, which a lot of other controllers have. And I think that they're magnet based. And therefore, because they're magnets, they can't get the stick drift because there's nothing that'll rub out and all that kind of stuff. These TMR are apparently like hollow effects 2.0. They're even better than the normal joysticks and will have no stick drift and issues and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not much into the actual tech behind all of it, but I will tell you that these TMR sticks feel really, 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 really good to hold. I still think the Switch 2 Pro controller has the best joysticks out there, but this to me has just jumped up into second place because of how nice they feel. They're just so smooth when using them. It's really great. This controller also, as you can probably see here in my video here, is they also have 4 back buttons automatically with the controller, which is really nice. Some back buttons on controllers I've never jived very well with. The DualSense Edge and the Xbox Series Elite, I hate the back buttons on those. I can't actually have them on the controller. When I hold it, I'm always pressing them because where I grip is where they are. And because they're these like metal things that stick out, like I kind of grip them into the grip of the controller when I'm using them. So
yeah, like
that's
I find
not
with say
great.
like the Razer Pro controller, which is what I've got here, they have sort of the similar
Yes.
kind of setup with these. They actually, at least with me personally, they do have that good fit too, where like they feel more like it's something that my fingers are sinking into, but they're not
Not accidentally
fully
pressing.
what's the word I'm looking for? They're not like getting in the way.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I love about this one. My fingers naturally, when I'm holding it, land on these 4 buttons at the bottom, but at no point am I applying anywhere near enough pressure to accidentally press them. The DualSense Edge here, where it's got the 2 spots, you can see I don't even have them, because as I would grip it, these 2 metal pieces that would stick out, I would genuinely push them in just to hold the controller, so I can't even use them. I even have the black Xbox Elite controller, which has the 4 in the back. I had to remove all 4. I couldn't even get a single one of them to stay on the back of the controller where I didn't accidentally push it in, which kind of sucked. So it's nice that they're there. I've got 4 back buttons now, and I'm not going to accidentally press them. So I really, 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 really like that. The controller does have gyro. I did use it for a second. It's very cool that you can load up a first-person shooter, and instead of trying to use the joystick, you can kind of just move the controller, and it will automatically like kind of just detect based on the gyro. And I was getting headshots. I was doing really, really well, but it's still just like not a mechanic that I want to use when I'm on the couch.
Yeah,
I
like
can see why
it's a
people would
cool
want,
idea, but it does because I mean maybe if it was like your first time playing games, this might be a cool thing to start it with. But when you've obviously been playing a certain way for X amount of time, it just doesn't seem to fit.
No, 100%. So for me, gyro is still probably going to be an exclusive Nintendo thing where it's forced in a Mario game where using gyro to move Mario who's standing on a ball or something like that. Like that'll probably still be my only thing with gyro. But it was really nice. I used the right joystick to do most of the aiming, and then the gyro was just kind of that little bit to make it a perfect headshot kind of idea. So it is cool, but I'm never going to use it because I just know me. But the real benefit of this controller is two things. One, the customizability and the trackpads. Steam input, which this is used through, like this is not an X input controller or anything, it is Steam input, allows you to fully customize the controller. You can fully customize it to do whatever you want. I currently have it set up if I'm playing a retro game through an emulator. If I hold down the trackpad, it opens up that all the other buttons that when I press them, they now have a second functionality. It's like the function key on a keyboard. So I've got it if I hold down the trackpad and press A, I do a save state. I hold down the trackpad and hit Y, I automatically reload my last save state. And I've done it that way because I won't ever accidentally press those buttons in any kind of combination because that's not a natural thing to press in a trackpad and A, right? So it's so easy to reach for, but it's like right there. And I could have used the back buttons. I could have done any other kind of combination. And in full honesty, the reason I did that is that's the setup I have on my Steam Deck if I'm playing a retro game. Left trackpad and A and Y. So very, very cool that the customizability is there. All the games that had Steam Deck profiles built now just work with this right out of the box because it's the same exact controller, just without the screen in the middle. Yeah, the customizability is insane. It just is such, I hate to say it, but a game changer, if you will, when it comes to using the controllers. And then the trackpads, obviously, you can take them or leave them if you really need them in game. It's outside of gaming that I've always found they are so helpful. I've had it where sometimes I need to jump into desktop mode. And again, I'm on my couch and stuff like that. I need to hop in there and quickly grab a file off a website. I've done it fully on the controller, and like I've done it quicker than I've done it before on a laptop with just a trackpad. Obviously not with an attached mouse and all that kind of stuff. That'll always be number one. But the left trackpad is a scroll wheel, and the right trackpad is actually the mouse with like R2 being left click of the mouse. I'm able to open up a website using the right trackpad, and then I'm just rotating my thumb on the left trackpad, and I'm scrolling up and down on web pages faster than a laptop. It is insane how quick I can actually do that. So it's really cool that they're there. It's not that I think they're necessary for gaming, but if you have a gaming PC as your like main console and you want it to feel like a console like I usually do, those trackpads fully take away any need for a keyboard or mouse and all that kind of stuff and fully consoleify, let's say, your PC on the TV, which is really, really, really cool.
Do you have like a preference for where you use it?
For me, mostly it is quickly hopping on a website. There's been files I've needed to grab, games and stuff like that, exe files of games, or if I was hopping into another launcher and I want to add it to Steam or something like that, I can very quickly do that. And you go into desktop mode right out of SteamOS, or if you're on Windows, you're already in there. Minimize Steam Big Picture mode or whatever you're in, and you can just control Windows, go on a website, open up Discord real quick, and actually navigate it with a perfect controller setup, where normally you'd have to grab a mouse or something, because it's not like Discord on PC is very controller friendly. It's usually just for that kind of stuff, but it saves having some sort of a mouse, keyboard, or combination of the two on your coffee table where you're trying to have a console-like experience, but constantly having to put down the controller and grab a mouse and keyboard and go do that stuff, right?
I like that.
Even the keyboard, you hit the Steam X on the controller, boom, the on-screen keyboard comes up, and it's fully run through Steam and works flawlessly. So I do everything. I can do all my searching. I do it on my Steam Deck even, and it's really, really great.
Nice.
The last good thing I want to say is more of a shout out. I've never had to use this myself, but it's something that I do think is amazing. On the back of the controller, you may not really be able to see it. Well, you can see one right about there. You can actually see the screwdriver holes in this controller. And that's because Valve, like they did with the Steam Deck, has partnered with ifixit.com, which is a website dedicated to help reduce e-waste. Like instead of the battery in my phone's no good anymore, time to throw it out and get a new one. They promote making it so you can replace the specific part in your device that's broken, put in a new battery, put in a new this, new that, and actually fix it. Like, if the controller's good, for example, and just the A button is broken, why not buy new face buttons, put them in, and your controller's like new again? Like, why buy a whole new controller and create all that e-waste? So that's always been iFixit's goal, and Steam is working with them for a second time. You can open this controller fully yourself, just with a normal little screwdriver, and you can buy all the individual parts you'd need for it directly from ifixit.com. So again, face buttons, the analog sticks, anything. Like, it's all fully repairable yourself. So once the warranty that you get through Valve is gone, they want you to still be able to fix it and not have to buy yet another controller. Unlike, if I look at my Xbox controller here, there's not a single screw here that I can access to get into this controller. The built-in battery goes, anything like that, stick drift, any of these kind of things, you're kind of screwed, right? So it's really nice that Valve has kind of gone in and made it so that you can do that. So I really appreciate that.
Well, that's all the good stuff.
That's all the good stuff. So
now where do we completely tell people not to buy this thing? No, just kidding.
So the bad that I don't have anything crazy. I really don't. This is more nitpicking. This is more personal preference stuff.
I mean, it's a $150 controller. If you're not nitpicking stuff, then
yes,
you got too much money, and we all know we're all broke on this show. So.
No, we are everybody. So my first main thing, because this is something that's very important to me with controllers ever since the PS5. The rumble in this is very basic. It is very much the Xbox style of rumble, unlike the PS5's crazy haptic feedback features like that. Like, the PS5 is still number one when it comes to rumble. This doesn't hold a candle to it at all. It is a very good rumble. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like the haptic feedback. Even the two trackpads have their own haptic feedback, which feels nice. But the actual rumble in the controller itself is just normal rumble that you would have in any game. That's not a deal breaker. There are many people who turn rumble off in games, but for me, the PS5 has spoiled me, and like, that's what I always want, and still no controller has come even close except for the PS5. So there is that. And also with rumble, there is a bug right now in Steam Input, which is a shame because the controller did just launch. The continuous rumble isn't happening. So if I was using my Xbox controller and I was drifting in a car in a game, as you're drifting, you would get rumble the entire time. On the Steam controller, or any controller through Steam Input right now, the rumble starts when you start the drift, and then it just stops after a second and isn't there for the rest of the drift. It is a bug. It's already been reported and all that. Valve may fix this by the time this video's out. I have no idea. But I do want to be transparent that is a bug right now that is actually with the controller, or Steam Input. The actual Steam button on the controller, this is a big nitpick. This is like nothing huge. I think it's in the wrong spot. It is up here above the two analog sticks. And whenever you try and actually press it from the analog stick, you have to like get your thumb up and around to press it. You can't just like lean forward and press a button very, easily. Unlike on the PlayStation controller, the Xbox controller, it's not in the way of the joystick. Here, the right analog stick or the left one, you got to like do this weird thumb lift to kind of get around and press on it. Not my favorite. I'm not going to lie. I kind of wish it was lower, just like the PlayStation controller. Like, it's lower on the PlayStation controller because you have those dual analog sticks. Like, I don't understand why they put it a bit higher. I get it, like, looks more pleasing, but I really wish they would have just put it lower at kind of how like they did with the quick access button down here. Button should have been probably right around there. So that's a nitpick, but still I feel it's one that some people may notice. And yeah. Another thing, I will admit, this controller is not very fun to look at. Sure, it's kind of like kooky and stuff like that, but like the design There's no little Easter eggs. There's no fun color. There's no anything. The design of this is very, very boring, especially when you put it next to something like the DualSense Edge here, where it has multiple colors. It's part black, part white, cool different lines. It's got the light bar under here. Even the trackpad here has like the different PlayStation symbols like etched around it and all that. There's a lot of really cool things that they do with other controllers to make them look cool and like make you want to buy the like special edition one. This one is just like matte black like the Steam Deck and has like very little personality outside of being the most basic controller with all the functionality and ergonomics, but just that little bit of Steam flair or something. So that's just a very small nitpick too. Another one is unfortunately the controller. This is a pretty big one. If there is anybody looking to use this controller outside of Steam, you are basically out of luck. This is not an X input controller like an Xbox controller. If you're in Windows and you want to open a different gaming storefront or even just an exe file off your desktop, this controller will not do anything. It will not run. It will not work. You have to launch, the game through Steam itself. Now, for any exe file you have, you can add that to Steam as a non-Steam game and launch it and the controller will work perfect. The issue is if you're using the Xbox app on the PC, you can't do that because Xbox games are like .uwp, I think, and it's like this weird file version that's only for the Xbox app, and there's no way to add those to Steam. Therefore, you cannot use this Steam controller in the Xbox app at all. You have to do this weird workaround where you run a program in the background that tricks the controller into thinking it's an Xbox controller and all this stuff that's like not worth it. Like if you're going to be using the Xbox app, just do not even bother with this. Stick to any Xbox controller that will just work right out of the box and not be a hassle. Like it's just completely not worth it. Only get this if you're only going to be playing games through Steam because it's, again, the only time that it'll really work.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like it makes sense too because obviously they're prepping for the Steam machine. Seems like it's going to accompany it anyway. So, like, it doesn't seem far fetched that a controller designed by Valve is going to be specifically for their software. It's not, I don't think, out of the realm of confusion to people. But again, it's also the thing of like, if you're going to choose it to use it for something else, like that might be where obviously you're going to have your own different outlook on stuff where you'll probably go, I could probably just be fine with a regular Xbox controller or whatever else.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because this is not as versatile. The Xbox controller at least works in every app with any controller game on Windows because Windows was made by Microsoft and so was the Xbox controller. So
like it might even be a case too where like getting a third-party controller, like again, my Razer that I have or like an 8-bit DOE, like those still might be a more feasible option if you're going to be much more varied in how you're using it. But it's like it sounds like if your entire focus is going to be on Steam, especially if you have a computer that's going to be running off of Steam OS, like that seems like it's a no-brainer, right?
100%. Yeah, Steam OS, the controller works because Steam is technically always running. There's no way to, well, I guess you can force close Steam, but you're not going to do that. Even when you're in desktop mode, Steam is still running in the background. So the controller is fully compatible with your desktop websites, no matter where you want to go, any game you load, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And lastly, there's one more bug that is actually like a deal breaker, except that I have to assume this one will be fixed in the next couple days. There is one type of Asus motherboard that if you have the puck, the charging puck and dongle connected to the computer and you try and turn on your computer or restart the computer, it freezes at the screen where it says press delete to go to your BIOS right at the beginning. And apparently it has to do with the fact that the controller, when Steam isn't running, the controller just acts as a keyboard and mouse. The trackpads are there and stuff, which I get it because Steam wants it to be that if your computer's on and Steam isn't running, at least you can use the controller, double click on Steam with the trackpad, and boom, you're in Steam and the controller's now fully working. But when you're starting in these motherboards, the motherboard apparently is like, well, wait, you have two mice connected and you have two keyboards connected, and this is very confusing, and then the computer just stops loading. So the BIOS actually like hits a brick wall because it's like you have too many peripherals connected. You can't have this many mice. We don't know what to do. So that's something Steam definitely will be looking into. It's already been reported to Steam. It's all over Reddit and all that kind of stuff. But the reason I know this is because I have that motherboard. How the hell did that fucking happen? It's not even a lot of them. It's like me and 4 people on Reddit. Like it's really not that common, but it is possible. So if that happens, all you have to do, unplug the puck, turn on your computer, and then once it's running, plug the puck back in. You're past BIOS and everything. You're fine. So yeah, it's a big bug. Hopefully Steam will fix that like in the next couple days.
Also,
because
it's the kind of thing that you're like, what are the odds that you're going to come across that in QA testing?
It would be if they had that motherboard, which I'm sure they tested a couple, but they didn't buy every motherboard out there. So I don't know. It's very weird. But yeah, very rare.
It's the one
There's, like, me
downside
and
with
two other
PC
guys.
gaming. It's like you can only test for so many different things.
Yeah,
It is why, like,
but
I mean, this is a side note, but I like that what Steam's starting to do now, or I don't know if they've rolled it out or not yet, is they're going to start showing how things run frame rate wise depending on what your software is.
Yes, and I love that. Absolutely, I love that. But yeah, so that's all the bad, though. I do want to quickly touch upon two bad things that I've seen going around online in many reviews that I actually don't agree with. So the first is the price. Now, I get it. I do understand this is an expensive controller. At no point am I thinking, guys, what are you saying? This isn't an expensive controller.
Yeah,
No,
but I mean, like, a Switch 2 controller now is like $100, so...
the Switch 2 controller Canadian is like 130, I think.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so it's expensive. Yeah, it's, I think, 99 or $90 US, but yeah, for us it's like 120, 130. But a lot of people online are comparing this to a base Xbox or a base PS5 controller. But the thing is in my eyes, that's not the correct thing to do. Like, I get the DualSense in Canada is only $99, but like, pretend this is the basic DualSense, this is the Edge, but there's no back buttons and stuff. There's no extra functionality. You just have the D-pad, 2 trackpads, yeah, exactly, and the 4 face buttons. It's just the basic buttons, where on Steam, you're getting the 4 back buttons, the 2 trackpads and stuff, which is what their Pro controllers have.
Like, even the Xbox Pro controller, like, has the ability to have them, but, like, I don't have the things on them.
Yeah, you got to buy the paddles separate unless you get their $230 version of the controller, which comes with it and a case. So some people are like, no, that doesn't make sense. I could buy an Xbox controller. It's like, yeah, but you don't get the back buttons or the trackpads or anything. Like, this is more of a Pro controller, and it should be kind of priced against those, where you can get the basic Elite Xbox controller for about the same price of this Canadian, like 150. But the DualSense Edge is like 250 or 260 Canadian dollars. I got mine out, like, open box, and I think it was still 190. So I got a used controller for $50 more than this one. And I get it. The controller has like more metal components and it comes with a case. But so what? That's another $100 or $110 for those items. I can probably get a case on Amazon for this controller for like $20. So yeah, I think that the price is expensive, but I think people aren't comparing it against the correct controller. Because if we want to do that, let's compare it against the price of an 8-bit DOE controller, which is all these features for like 1/3 the cost and even cheaper than base PlayStation and Xbox controllers. So, like, I just think people are basing it against the wrong controllers. And then the other thing I've noticed is a lot of people are having these ergonomic complaints, and I get it. It's going to be based on how you grip the controller in hands. But I've seen that the back screw holes for where the iFixit stuff is, people are saying that their fingers are hurting because they're resting against the hole and it's actually digging into them. Some people have said the 2 analog sticks are too close together. Some people have said that they're accidentally hitting the back buttons like every 2 seconds. And some people even said that they were getting their fingers underneath the L2 and R2 buttons, and when they push it down, it's pinching their finger. I haven't had a single one of those, but like, not even like, oh, it's close, but it's not happening to me. I'm not even close with my grip to any of those complaints. The screw holes are nowhere near any of my fingers. The 2 analog sticks are only like a millimeter closer together than the PS5 controller. So my fingers just rest on the PS5 and this controller like right away. And like the back buttons, I've never had that. And my fingers are nowhere near where the L2 and R2 buttons would be pinching. So I think that's like, if anybody reads those reviews or sees them on YouTube, don't take that as like that is what's happening to everybody. I think it's just that reviewer has either a specific grip type or a size of hand. I have very average hands, not too big, not too small, like just very average. And I find the controller to fit my hand exactly how I would want a controller to fit. So yeah, so there's just that. But yeah, I'll just quickly finish this off with, is this good enough for me? And should this be something that you guys grab? For me, this is easily becoming possibly my new favorite controller. I do prefer the DualSense Edge for that premium feel, like it's heavier metal components. The aesthetic of it, because Sony put a lot of like, hey, look at all the Easter eggs on it, and the haptic feedback. Like I still prefer the rumble on that one. But that's when it's on a PS5. On PC, obviously that's turned down a lot because I'm doing it over Bluetooth where it can't do the haptic feedback. But overall, when it comes to a controller that feels extremely comfortable, it works on any PC game that I load onto it, even ones that have no controller support, or if I need to go on my desktop, it's just the ultimate PC on the couch controller that I love so much. Like, it is exactly what I've been looking for honestly the last 10 years since I've been trying to turn my PC into like a living room console, which I started all the way back with that Steam Link that I bought and the original Steam controller, right? So I think that like this controller, bugs aside, obviously they got to get fixed, is perfect for me, even if I do still prefer like the rumble and the prettiness of the DualSense Edge. Should you get this, like not even necessarily just you, Adam, but maybe you, but whoever you are, I'm looking at you listening to this or watching this video, I'm going to be honest with you. If you already have a controller and you don't want to game on a PC at your couch, you may not need this. Any normal controller is already working. If you're at your desk like Adam is right now, if you're looking at the video and you are sitting at your desk, you have a keyboard and mouse right there. You don't need special trackpads to deal with a launcher or going to a website. You have a perfect keyboard and mouse and you're sitting at it. You're not going to put it away. This is for when you're on the couch. Then you kind of need it. But again, also, if you're going to be using other launchers, if you primarily do Xbox gaming with full screen experience, if you do mostly Epic for all the games there and you don't want to add your games to Steam, or you're just doing it where you're downloading games off GOG or websites or whatever, and EXE files, they're old files, and you don't want to add them to Steam, don't get this controller because it's going to be a lot more of a hassle where you're running background programs and stuff to force it to work, when a perfectly good Xbox controller will work out of the box, no tinkering, just here you go. It'll work for everything, and you'll even save some money because you don't need all the extras.
It really does seem like this is a like hold up if you're looking at potentially a Steam machine, especially if you don't have a PC at all. Like this might be something that's like, hey, this might be your complimentary piece if you're looking into this.
Yes, if you're getting a Steam machine, or if you plan on trying to make Steam one of your primary ways that you game, or you want to game in a game that you want to play a game that has no controller support. I watched a video of somebody using this to play World of Warcraft. My mind was blown because that is something that hasn't had controller support for like 26 years. People have been asking for it, and Steam just kind of like made it work out of the box where it's like here. And there's already like 300 different profiles people have created. So if you've got that, or honestly, you just have that niche setup like me where you've created your own Steam machine that's running either SteamOS or Windows, it'll work for both, but it's running on your TV, on your couch, where you don't want a keyboard and mouse. You just want a normal couch console setup. Like, honestly, this is going to be perfect for you. Like, do yourself a favor and pick it up. It will change the way that you PC game from your couch. It really will turn it into a console. Like, it really will make it that console experience. And the cool thing is it actually wakes the PC too. So if you're on SteamOS or Windows, even apparently this will work or does work. I haven't tested with Windows, but I did test it with SteamOS. You have the computer in sleep mode. You press the Steam controller. It's on. The TV's on. This is on, and you're good to start playing some games. And all of a sudden, a launcher shows up, or you got to do anything. You can use that trackpad, and then boom, you're back in your game. Like, you want to play World of Warcraft that has no controller support, but still on the couch. You don't have to do anything special. Just load it up. So do yourself a favor and grab this if you're going to be playing Steam, especially on your couch. That's when I say it's perfect. Otherwise,
awesome.
Maybe just stick with the controller you need.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a plan to me. I mean, it's something that I'll have my eye on. Granted, it's not something I'm in a rush for at this point, but like, you never know if it ends up getting on a deal at some point. Maybe it's something nice, a nice complimentary piece, like I said earlier, of like all your stuff that you already got. So,
absolutely, yeah. If you have this and an Xbox controller, you're covered no matter what your bases are on PC. You've got the two controllers that will always cover you, to be honest.
Awesome. All right, we're going to take this one off the air. So if that works for you guys, well, there you go. Something to look forward to if you already own one. Well, in which case, I don't know how you're watching this, but hey, if you're looking to purchase something, there's something for you to look for in the future. So we are going to get out of here, guys. So thank you so much for watching this one. You guys know the drill. Like and subscribe. And you got the link tree there on your screen, also in the description. So you can go through there, link to our Discord, all that stuff. And we will see you on the next one. So take care and bye-bye for now.